What if you could hear people's thoughts, but the one voice you heard most clearly belonged to the man who never spoke to anyone? She was poor, broken, alone, until a car crash gave her an impossible gift, the power to read minds. But what she discovered next? A cold, powerful CEO, a secret love buried for 10 years, and a truth that could destroy or heal them both. This isn't just a love story, it's a story about silence, secrets, and the kind of love that waits an entire decade to be heard. If you're someone who believes in deep, emotional love stories, ones that linger in your soul long after they end, then you're exactly where you need to be. Subscribe now and become part of a family that feels every heartbeat, every tear, every story. Because here, every story could be yours. My name is Sophia Lane, a 24-year-old waitress working double shifts at a rundown diner on the outskirts of New York. Life wasn't easy. I lived in a small one-room apartment with flickering lights and a broken heater. My mother had passed away when I was 12, and my father left soon after. Since then, I had only myself to rely on. I didn't believe in miracles. Not until that night. It was pouring rain, and my shift had just ended. I was walking along the highway, drenched, tired, and thinking about how to pay next month's rent. The next moment, all I saw was blinding headlights, a loud crash, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed, barely able to move. The doctors said I had been unconscious for 3 days. A black SUV had hit me and the driver left without stopping. I should have been angry, but I was too dazed. That's when the voices began. At first I thought I was hallucinating, but when the nurse came in and smiled, I could hear her thoughts. Poor girl, she's so young. I hope she has someone to take care of her. I panicked. Was I going crazy? But it didn't stop there. Every doctor, every orderly, I could hear their thoughts before they even spoke. It was terrifying. But soon, I realized something else. I could read minds. When I was finally discharged, the world didn't feel the same. I kept my ability a secret. Until one day, my life collided, literally, with a man I never expected to see again. Adrian Black, CEO of Blackstone Industries. Ruthless, cold, mysterious, a billionaire with a reputation for never showing emotion, but to me, he was more than just a name. He was the boy who sat behind me in high school, the one who never spoke, the one who secretly helped me when bullies stole my books, the one who disappeared after senior year. And now, 10 years later, he stood in front of me, after crashing into my life again. "I'm sorry," he said curtly, helping me up. "I wasn't looking." But his thoughts whispered something else. God, it's her, after all these years. She hasn't changed at all. My heart froze. Why was Adrian Black thinking about me like that? I followed his voice with my new gift as he walked away. His thoughts were chaotic, confused, full of emotion, emotions he never showed on his face. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I showed up at Blackstone's building. I knew it was insane, but I needed answers. I applied as a temp assistant through an agency, and by some miracle, or maybe fate, I got hired. Adrian didn't recognize me right away. He barely looked at his staff, but I could hear him. Every day, every fleeting thought. Does she seem familiar? Her voice, it reminds me of something I tried to forget. No, it can't be Sophia Lane. I watched him from a distance, heard his secrets. He was a lonely man, burdened, trapped in a world of money and power, but emotionally starved. And deep down there was a quiet pain that kept whispering, Sophia. One night he stayed late. So did I. I walked into his office to bring him coffee, and he looked up, startled. "You?" he whispered. And then, for the first time, his thoughts were crystal clear. She's here, after all these years. She doesn't know I loved her. Still do. God, she can't know. I dropped the coffee. My heart was pounding. I ran out of the office, breathless. Adrian Black, the coldest man in New York, had been in love with me for 10 years? I didn't know what to feel. Anger, shock, or something I'd buried a long time ago. But then, something changed. He began to notice me more, call me into meetings, ask questions. His cold exterior started to melt. And the more time we spent together, the more I realized I wasn't just hearing his thoughts. I was falling for him. One evening, during a company retreat in Vermont, we were caught in a storm. The roads were blocked, and we were stuck in a cabin overnight. Just the two of us. The fire crackled. Adrian was staring out the window. "Why did you come to work for me?" he asked suddenly. I stayed silent. But he turned and looked directly into my eyes. "You're not just anyone, are you?" And then, without thinking, I said it. "I can hear your thoughts, Adrian." He froze. I braced myself for laughter or disbelief, but instead he whispered, "I know." My breath caught. "You know? I've suspected it for weeks," he said. "No one else reacts before I speak. No one else looks at me like you do, like you see me, the real me." I felt tears rise. "All these years," I whispered. "Why didn't you say anything back then?" His jaw tightened. "Because I was nobody. My father had just died. My family was bankrupt. I disappeared to build myself, to become someone worthy of you." I stepped closer. "You didn't need to become anything. I already saw you." He took my hand, and for the first time, I couldn't hear his thoughts, because he spoke them out loud. "I love you, Sophia. I always have." We kissed under the firelight. And in that moment, I felt every broken piece of my life fall into place. The girl who had nothing now had someone who had everything, but only wanted her. But the story wasn't over. A week later, I was called into HR. A woman had anonymously leaked to the board that I was manipulating Adrian through a supposed psychic ability. They laughed it off. But Adrian didn't. He stood up at the next board meeting and said the unthinkable. "Sophia Lane is more than my assistant. She's the woman I've loved for 10 years, and I don't care what anyone thinks." Gasps, whispers. But I heard only one thought in his mind. "Let them try to stop me. I won't lose her again." Months passed. Adrian made everything public. He stepped down temporarily as CEO to prove I wasn't some project. I got a new job in nonprofit work, my dream. We built something real, raw, deep, based not on power or wealth, but on truth. I still hear thoughts, but I don't need to read his anymore, because now he tells me everything. And sometimes the most powerful gift is knowing that someone has always loved you, even in silence. And sometimes love doesn't need words. It only needs time. 10 silent years, one hidden heart, and a girl who could finally hear what was never said. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments, because your voice matters here. Have you ever felt an unspoken love? A connection so deep it didn't need to be explained? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to hear more unforgettable stories like this, full of pain, passion, and power, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our journey. Because the next story might just be yours.